All right, this is a list that you don't really want to be on. It's the worst plus-minus ratings in the NHL this season. You can see Rasmus Ristolainen at -42. Drew Doughty, -29. I'll say this about this stat. It's not the end-all, be-all. These guys are on bad teams. Most of them play a lot of minutes, and these are the things that can happen in those situations. But it is kind of an indicator of how things are going, and particularly in the case of Ristolainen, who's a really good young defenseman we've seen getting better. And then this year he's taken a step back for the Buffalo Sabres, and it has been a bad year, and he's on the ice in a lot of situations. But we saw a circumstance in the game you're calling last night, the Sabres and the Devils, where there's a power play for the Devils. He's in front of the net, and he's indecisive. Let's roll the goal first by Blake Coleman of the Devils. And he's going to come out of the corner, and he just drives that. You can see Ristolainen not aggressive enough there, Dano, for me. And Coleman comes in and scores. So what do you think he should do in a play like that?
Well, first off, you mentioned it, EJ. He's indecisive, and that shows some frustration from Ristolainen in the season. Yeah. The Buffalo Sabres have had, along with him, I mean, he's known as an excellent defenseman, all-around defenseman, shall I say.
Still learning,
Still learning, but making the right decisions and the quick reaction, thinking on your skates, as they say. So, for me, let's go in front of the net here.
I'll be Coleman coming out of the corner.
Now, you're coming out of the corner. If you watch on the tape, and you saw, he does a good job. I always say head on a swivel. He checks his shoulder. There's nobody there for the Devils.
Because Coleman could be trying to make that pass for a one-timer.
So he checks. So maybe he holds his ground if, in fact, there is somebody backdoor that Coleman, he takes away the pass, leave Coleman to the goaltender. But he checks, there's nobody there. And what he does is he actually takes a few strides back, giving Coleman more time to cut right out in front. He can't even react and get stick on puck is what you want. So what I would have liked to see him do, and what I think would have been effective, he checks his shoulder, nobody there. One step forward. Stick on puck, Coleman can't cut to the front of the net and put it underneath the goaltender, all marked. And that's just hesitation, unsure, and that's been the kind of season it's been for certainly Rasmus Ristolainen at times. Excellent defenseman, we all know that, but every player goes through it at times. Everything has to be made split-second decisions, and for him to take a step back. That gave Coleman just enough time to come out front. He takes a step forward. No way Coleman gets out front. He pokes that puck away, and no harm at the time. Love that he checked his shoulder, but unfortunately he kind of drifted back.
And gave that space, Here it is one more time, and you can see it there. He does. You're right. He's backing out of the play.
Right here. He stays back, and well, here we'll see a better example. Right here. See, he goes back. Just a couple of little strides with his skates, moves back a little bit, instead of recognizing after he looked over the shoulder that I can attack. I can go this way, get stick on the puck, and Blake Coleman's unable to walk right in front for the kind of wrap around on Allmark and put it in the net.
Put it in the net, You know what's funny is that we've talked over the years, Dano, and you mentioned about Ristolainen. You played the position. You told me in the past you learned a lot from Larry Robinson and Jacques Lemaire and the Devils late in your career, when you had played in the league like 12 or 13 years. So here's Ristolainen. He's learning. And one of the biggest things that you learned in our conversations is to try to stay on your feet. Because guys too often, they'll go down and then they're kind of out of the play. And we have one example we want to show with Riley Smith here of the Vegas Golden Knights, and he's against Joe Morrow. And Morrow goes down, and Riley Smith just goes right around him, and he puts the puck in the net here and just takes himself out of the play.
Well, believe me, when I was younger, I used to flop like a fish at times, and you're thinking you're going to cover more of the ice. You're in desperation mode. What does happen there, you leave yourself vulnerable. There's two factors there. Riley Smith's out high, so you can't go down when Riley Smith's...
he's got too much ice.
Too much ice to work with, too much time and space, because the fact that these guys are so highly skilled, he's got an option to go around you. And another factor is he's on his off wing.
Left
shot. So you're a left shot on your off wing. Well, all the options when a defenseman goes down, He's got the option to go around like
you.
he did and score the goal. Or he can cut to
back
the middle,
which
is even a better scoring position for him. He just has so many other options to make. And these guys, again, these forwards, we see it top to bottom, are even more skilled in today's game.
Yeah, absolutely.
You go down and you don't time it right, you don't block the shot, or at least know absolutely he has no other option. He's going to shoot. He can't make a play, but these guys can nowadays, and he's out way too high. Too much room. He goes down, Morrow, commits himself like this, and that's what I say. You commit yourself, now all of a sudden you're swinging, you're sweeping. Riley Smith,
right around
slick hands, right around him.
And then he takes it in,
buries
puts it in.
He also could have went around
way,
this. Like, how am I going to get up? How am I going to
You're
recover
out of the play.
as a defenseman? There's just no way. So what we'd like to see, as I flop and get up, harder to get up these days.
I hear you.
But simple, it's all about patience. This is something, yes, I'd already played 10, 11 years, and I was going down far too often. And we'll talk about a time to go down. There is times. But it's all stick on puck. Subtle movements. You don't even have to sweep it. Just, you know, guide him to the outside. He goes to the middle. You've gotten... There's no way he can cut and get an opportunity on you. You already got the puck. You're going to be able to poke it and probably poke it out of the zone. But if he does go wide, that's okay. And
now he's in a bad area, and you're on your feet to defend, right?
I'm on my feet to defend, stick on puck. Even if he gets a shot off, your goaltender usually is there. It's a sharp angle for Riley Smith along the way. You go down, and boy, oh boy, these guys walk around you. It's trouble at the time. And he went down pretty early and also kind of slid. You go down, you don't want to slide because you're really swimming. You're out of position.
No control over your body.
No control over your body, and he made a desperate attempt. You mentioned it about the swinging the stick, but Riley Smith, pretty good offensive player, makes a play.
Good players make good plays. And, you know, the one I do want to ask you about this, too, because we've talked in the past that there are sometimes that last option of going down is a good option. Go through maybe a circumstance or two where it makes sense for you.
Well, first off, obviously, if it's a 2-on-1 situation, and I don't recommend it too often. Because I was taught by one of the best, Larry Robinson, always says you'd be amazed if you're pointing your stick at the puck. Yeah, you want to take that pass, kind of have the guy going to the net on your hip, kind of deal. And a lot of times he says you'll poke that, you'll deflect that pass.
And you were amazed how many times it happened.
It looks like there's not a whole lot of an area when you point your stick. You don't even leave it open. He says have your stick turned, pointed toward the puck, even if it's 5 feet away. And subtle movements. A lot of times you're going to deflect that pass. And yeah, the guy's going back door. But however, if it's a right winger on his strong
on the right side,
he's on his strong side, and he starts to come down. You've already got him angled where he's getting in pretty tight to the net. Well, then maybe at times you're going to go down, or even one knee where you cover some area, and he can't get that pass across. Strictly because now I say even fourth liners can make those saucer passes on the tape. So maybe you do cover area, and it's a last-second decision. Timing is everything, where he has no other option. The only option this winger is going to have, especially if he's right-handed, because he can't cut to the middle like Riley Smith.
That's right. If I'm a lefty and you go down, I might be able to pull back.
You stop up, and then you find your...
And I can hit a guy, like, from that angle.
You can hit a guy late. You can hit a guy, your teammate, if it's a 2-on-1, which I talked about kind of scenario. But if it's a right-hand shot, his only option is pass. You know it. You've got to time it. And obviously, you got a good opportunity to block it. But for the most part, just don't need to go down too often. I just don't think it's the best decision nowadays. And again, I learned from Larry Robinson, one guy that did go down, and our colleague, as good as anybody, because he timed it and he usually blocked it, was Scott Stevens. When he went down, it was a last-second decision because the opposition, or the guy with the puck, already had the slap shot in motion or the shot in motion, and that's just instincts and timing. But for the most part, stick on puck. You hear it from coaches, you hear it from everybody, and that usually is the most effective. All
right, well, Larry Robinson's in the Hall of Fame. You got 3 Stanley Cups. I'd listen to these guys. They know what they're talking about.